Alright, so this is the iPhone 14 Pro and it came out in September of last year and now it's February 2023, so it's halfway through its life cycle, closing in on that 6 months phase. And this is going to be a long-term review of using the iPhone 14 Pro as a daily phone. So how does it hold up? Things like performance, battery life, display, camera, everything you need to know in this video of using the iPhone 14 Pro as a daily driver phone 6 months later. With that being said, let's get started. Alright, so starting off with performance and internals, the iPhone 14 Pro comes with Apple's A16 Bionic chip, which is based on their 4nm fabrication process and 6GB of RAM. You also have 3200 mAh battery here. We'll talk about battery life a little later in this video, but talking about performance, iOS 16 is amazing on this phone. It flies through it and everything is very consistent. The animations, the transitions, it's really smooth. There's no jitters, hiccups or lags anywhere, and performance is very consistent and very solid. In my opinion, you could do high-end things like gaming, video editing, photo editing, even multitasking. You can open up a lot of apps at once and switch through them really fast, and you could be doing just normal things like social media or browsing the internet, watching videos, playing some normal games, or you could also be doing some high-end tasks, as I said, like video editing or photo editing, and you'll have no problems with the performance on this phone. Some other internal changes are going to be with the accelerometer as well as the gyroscope. So the sensors have been upgraded for their crash detection feature, and it's good to have. I hope you really never have to use it, but it's there just in case. Now talking about some other internal changes that have been made to the connectivity of the phone. So you have 5G, again as expected, but you also have satellite connectivity and eSIM. Now the US versions of these phones will have the eSIM feature, so there is no physical SIM card slot and you'll have to get the eSIM activated from your carrier itself. And satellite connectivity is again a really nice feature in my opinion. It's good to have, but again it's for those really rare case scenarios. In case you're in an area where there is no cell reception, there is no network, you can use the satellite connectivity feature to actually get some help and transfer information even without network. So your phone will actually connect you to a nearby satellite and help you get your information across. And comparing it to the A15 Bionic from last year, there are minor upgrades, and the 4nm chip this time around is doing really good in terms of performance, and it does bring in some other performance upgrades in terms of camera processing and other stuff. But battery efficiency is also really good with the iPhone 14 Pro. Even with a 3200 mAh battery, it is holding up really well. You can get a day or more of use with the iPhone 14 Pro, no problem. And even with that 6.1-inch OLED display that is full HD plus in terms of the resolution, 120 Hz refresh rate, so ProMotion technology, as well as always on display. And the Super Retina XDR displays have always been great, and this is no exception. The iPhone 14 Pro has a really nice display in terms of watching videos, playing games, consuming content, even just going through iOS 16, scrolling through Instagram or YouTube would be really fun. The display can go up to 2000 nits in terms of peak brightness and does support HDR as well. So watching videos and playing games and consuming content on this one is definitely a treat, and the display in my opinion is really nice. Now another thing that comes with the display on the iPhone 14 Pro is Dynamic Island, and the name aside, it is a really nice feature. It's more software than hardware in my opinion, and it's really smooth. So if you're using apps like Spotify or YouTube or something like that and you're playing a video or a song, you can use the Dynamic Island feature to get a small widget on top, and you can control things like that. And it will also show you, system alerts as well as calls and messages. So you can quickly just click on the Dynamic Island and go to that app, and long pressing will give you a small widget where again you'll have some options to play around with that notification. Now the always on display feature is also new here. So that came really late to the iPhone, but it's here and it's really good. It doesn't take up a lot of battery. So if you use the always on feature for like 5 to 6 hours, you might lose 2 or 3% of battery overnight. So I would happily use the always on display. It'll show you notifications, the time and stuff like that. So that's really good. Now let's talk about the highlight feature on the iPhone 14 Pro, which are its cameras. So you have a main 48 megapixel camera with the telephoto and ultra wide, and you have a lot of new features in the camera app. So things like cinematic mode, which give you that depth of field effect. You can use cinematic mode in both 4K as well as 1080p at 30 FPS. You have action mode, which is more of a stabilization mode. So if you're moving around, running around, doing action stuff, you can use that and it gives you incredible stabilization. The results are really good and you won't believe it if the phone was on a gimbal or not. It's that good. And you also have the normal slow motion video feature as well. The 14 Pro still doesn't shoot in 8K, but again, the 4K video quality is really good. The photos from this phone are amazing. You'll get better performance in low light as well as in normal daylight conditions. And if you give this phone enough light, it can produce some really good shots, outdoors, indoors as well. And it does really well with things like skin tones. So if you're taking pictures of people, it does a really good job of portraying the natural skin tone itself. And colors on the photos are really good. So dynamic range, colors, saturation, sharpness, everything is on point. And the photos from iPhones have never been bad, so the 14 Pro is no exception. 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max will give you that, pro camera experience with cinematic mode, with action mode, and the triple camera layout. You'll have some options in terms of the focal length. You can play around with it. And just overall, the cameras on the iPhone 14 Pro have really improved. Now, if you do compare it to Samsung or Pixel, this is a totally different kind of image processing algorithm from Apple. Google uses a different one and Samsung uses a different one. It just comes down to personal preference. There's no real winner here, but 14 Pro clicks some really good images in my opinion. And all the three cameras have a consistency in my opinion. So whether you're clicking with the ultra wide, the telephoto, or the main camera, the colors and everything looks very similar. So that's really nice from Apple. Other companies don't really do that well. So photos from their ultra wides and telephoto are different compared to their main sensor. So I really like how Apple has managed the camera system on the 14 Pro. Now, when you use the phone for a long period of time on the daily, there is going to be some wear and tear. Now, with the 14 Pro, the sides are kind of annoying in my opinion. They're glossy and they're metal, so it takes up a lot of fingerprints. But in terms of scratches, this phone holds up really well. So if you take care of it and put a case, a screen protector, or a skin, it'll stay like new and doesn't really have a lot of wear and tear. The back is really good in terms of avoiding fingerprints and scratches. It's this matte frosted glass. And the front itself, you'll have to use a screen protector in my opinion to protect that screen. Even though Apple says this is ceramic shield and this is a strong glass, I would not risk dropping this phone or using it without a screen protector. I would use it without a case, but I think the screen protector is going to be really necessary if you're using this phone on the daily. But other than that, in terms of just holding the phone, and the in-hand feel is really good. You can use this phone with one hand comfortably, and that is a really nice thing in my opinion. The Pro Max is not really a one-hand phone. You'll have to use both your hands there, but the 14 Pro itself with a 6.1-inch display feels really good in the hand. Again, comfortable to use with one hand, and it also feels really heavy and it has that premium feel in the hand, so that's really good. Now, to conclude this video and to wrap up everything that I just said, this is a really solid phone in my opinion. It's the complete package. You get a really nice design and build quality, great internals, which results in solid performance. The display and cameras are amazing as well. So if you can afford it, which is a heavy price tag of 1,29,000 rupees or $1,000 in the US, it's a really nice phone. It's not for everyone. It's for that niche group of people who want the high-end Pro phone. And this definitely ticks all the boxes. So if you enjoyed this video and if this was helpful, go ahead and smash the like button as well as subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. But with that being said, my name has been Yusuf. You guys have been awesome. Stay awesome, keep smiling, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.